Hello, everybody. Welcome to United Stand. Thursday evening, Thursday therapy session. Let's do it. We're talking managers. We're talking looking ahead towards what we just discussed off air as a very difficult weekend for United. So have you seen what Southampton did to Spurs yesterday? United, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one this weekend. We'll touch on that as well and everything else that's come out today. Joining me today, though, tonight even, Kev. How we doing, mate? Have you got over from Tuesday night?
Not really, if I'm being totally honest. It's a progressional thing, isn't it? Yeah, you take it bad, and I'm kind of dreading Saturday, if anything. I should be looking forward to it, man. Manchester United playing Southampton, past results against them, but that's part of being a United fan at the minute. So we'll see what tonight's show. See what we can do. We'll delve into it, won't we? Leave no stone unturned, as he said.
We'll be putting the world to right, Jordan, mate, won't we? But tough night on Tuesday, mate. Couple of nights to get over everything, look at how other teams have played and whatnot. Looking forward to weekend, mate? Or are you like Kev there, a little bit on the sort of apprehensive side, like,
definitely
not too sure?
Yeah, definitely apprehensive. It can go one or two ways. We can either go up there and slap Southampton 4-0, or we can get overrun in the midfield and lose again. But it does feel nice to talk to you guys without the immediate aftermath of another awful result. So I enjoy the Thursday show.
That's it. Beth, another 12:30 kickoff. We can't get a normal kickoff time. It's ruining weekends, isn't it, at the moment? But you'll be there. And, well, the last few weeks haven't been easy, but I think we just need a result, don't we, this weekend?
Yeah, but it's one of them, like, the Burnley game, it's just so disappointing that I'm just set up to be disappointed again at the weekend. If we can't get 3 points against Burnley, to see how Southampton played yesterday, I have a feeling we're going to massively struggle. And obviously, I usually go into games optimistic, but it keeps getting harder and harder. So hopefully they'll surprise me and we'll get the 3 points. But it's so annoying because start of the week ruined, start the weekend. Hopefully it's not ruined this time.
That's it. I mean, we have a lot to talk about just for tonight. If an off the field antics. I mean, guys, if you didn't see Mark's show earlier on at Old Trafford, outside Old Trafford being blown away, welcome to Manchester, mate. That's usually the case every single day. But he was going on about leaks again. Kev, leaks. No surprise now, but this time in a different sort of department. This time in the managerial area, and who might not. And it's brought a debate up. It's brought it up onto social media today, and everyone's had their say in terms of who they would like to come in the summer. Everyone knows who my pick would be now and what I think we need to do. From what I've seen over the last few weeks, I think it's been quite clear that it doesn't really matter who's in charge, Kev. But the names that are actually going out there, I mean, we've seen Enrique, Pochettino, obviously Ralf is in charge right now. For you, mate, any of these managers sort of are they jumping out at you? Are they the answer? Or we all know it's deeper, but we all know that we do need a manager in place. Is it a case of just who can make the most of what is left and what we're dealing with right now on that pitch?
I can totally understand why Enrique would be linked to the job. I think any kind of up-and-coming manager is going to be linked to Manchester United. We're arguably, however you look at it, the biggest club in the world, in world football. There's some that might say that some managers will be put off by it. It's a poison chalice. Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, no manager has really been able to sustain any kind of long-term success at Manchester United. They've never been able to get these, what I class as some of them, prima donna kind of school children under any kind of control. They've been running free. I think Rangnick's come in. He's done a really good job, a really tough job of trying to shift what we would call the deadwood. Maybe some of the voices in the dressing room that have kind of brought us down. And Pochettino, I don't understand the links with Pochettino. I know that there's a story you'll probably get into in a bit that some of the players favour him, and I don't understand where that comes from. None of these players have played under Pochettino before, so I can't understand why they'd be singing from the rooftops and saying, get him in as a manager. We've seen what he did at Spurs. Taking him to the Champions League final was, for Spurs, a massive success, but he doesn't have on his CV that he's won it. So I've never quite understand the Pochettino links to Manchester United. there's obviously no smoke without fire. It's obviously true. But for me, Ten Hag, every single minute of the day, every hour, every day of the week, and twice on a Sunday. This is somebody if Manchester United cannot afford to miss out on. And long term, if we didn't secure him this summer or lay something down, even if Rangnick takes the team into next season and it's not sorted for next summer, this is the next top up and coming coach that United could miss a trick on big time. We know that Guardiola won't be at City forever. The same with Jurgen Klopp. And for me, them two teams, they will be looking at Ten Hag, definitely looking at him. And I think if United miss the boat on him, they've missed the trick big time. And we will lose out, and he'll go to another, top English club. And I believe he will be successful there. What he's done at Ajax is fantastic. He lays down the roots. I know Ajax have a great academy and all that, but he is part of that as the manager, oversees everything. And that's what we need at United. I think we need an identity, a style of football that starts from the kids in the academy all the way through to the first team. And it makes it easy when these kids come in to represent United at the top level. It's just like stepping in. It's easy because they're used to playing that style of football.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I agree with everything you said there. I mean, some of the managers that everyone are people and fans that want in at Manchester United, not even mentioned or in the equation at the moment, it would seem. I'm just going to bring up the Honest Tigers super chat. Great name, by the way, mate. Another great YouTube name. But Adam, hope you're now dry and what's that? Hope you have now dried out after sulking. You got Tuesday. We get Mark moaning about a hailstone. Keep up the great work. Cheers for the super, mate. Jordan, mate. I mean, in terms of managers, Enrique, Ralf in charge right now. I don't think I spoke to you about this. Where is your head at now in terms of manager? What you want? Come the end of the season, mate, because it's coming. It's fast approaching. Not many games left, especially the way we're playing, mate. We've only the Premier League to play in. Well, not many to go. And it's coming. It's round the corner. Are you on board with the club actually looking now? Is that the right thing to be doing, getting someone in place now? Leaks are leaks, mate. We can't help that. We just know it's Man United, don't we, mate? But are you happy that we're actually looking now? And where are you at with the manager and who's out there right now?
Yeah, I think, first of all, with the whole leaks, very little gets out if the club don't really want it to get out, in my opinion. Stuff that, them saying the players are interested and want Poch, that's the club putting it out there to see what the reaction is. That's the marketing propaganda machine in overdrive, testing the water. I really am in two minds with the whole Poch situation. I think I was a massive fan of Poch, and I really respected the job he did at Southampton and the job he did at Spurs. I've got a lot of good friends who are Spurs fans, and a lot of them said that he just wasn't backed after a certain period of time. The team needed a freshen up and needed investment. And, when he left and the backing that Mourinho had with Bale going there and the other money that was spent, if that money had gone after the Champions League final to Poch, they would have been in a different place and they would have preferred Poch to have had that money. And then I look at him going to PSG, and I put a tweet out the other day, like, for some reason, the narrative around Poch is that he's now damaged goods because of what's happened out in PSG. But then I look at Tuchel and the issues he had at PSG, with, massive egos, certain clauses in contracts, that certain players have to play in certain positions for a certain amount of time, so on and so forth. And they are the Harlem Globetrotters of football. So do you overly judge him on that? And then you look, he is 13 points clear at the top of the league. And I think that sometimes is forgotten about. There's a lot of talk about cup exits, but his model at Spurs was also that he never really seemed to go flat out for those cup games and concentrated on the league and then Europe. So we haven't won a league for 5 years, a cup for 5 years. So that shouldn't be an issue. But something Mark always says, and I really do agree and sort of change my mind on it, is that we should be looking for our own star, and a manager that comes to us and wants to make a name for himself. And I look at, I didn't know a lot about Ten Hag when we were first linked to him. And then, after looking into him a bit more and listening to some things that he's said and reading a bit more about him, I really like what he's about and what he's done at Ajax. And I think that we're in such a fine position that we need the whole club galvanized. We need somebody to come in with a complete, fresh outlook on football, total football, and really implement their own philosophy. And my concern about Poch coming in is that he will be influenced by our ex-legends because he knows their reputation, he knows what they're about in the press. Whereas somebody like Ten Hag, you'd like to think would come in and it's a clean slate and he can really sort of get the academy set up in the right way, that it's developing players for the first team. I feel like he's so well, he's developed well. And that's something that I feel like we need. So if you were to ask me at the moment, I think Ten Hag would be the guy for me now.
Hey, Beth, do we as a fan base need to be patient? Because people are talking about the manager to come in to take Manchester United forward. And honestly, I'm like listening to what Wayne Rooney said the other day, and I'm in total agreement, except I think it's going to be longer for United to actually win the league from where we are now squad-wise. I mean, the manager coming in is going to be under immense pressure from the fan base. It's not fair, really, because it's been messed up beforehand. But do we have to be patient and accept that a new man coming in isn't going to bring us a trophy straight away?
Yeah. If you look at, it's a simple answer. If you look at Manchester United now, I do, despite what Rangnick said about him thinking that United can challenge for the league next season, I feel like he's quite an honest guy, but that is very optimistic if you look at the position we're in. I think, one, it depends on what we do in the summer and who we bring in and who we go for, what positions we go for. Two, it's how long that's going to take to gel, how long the manager is going to be able to implement his style. We've seen with Ralf coming in, who he's only just starting to see improvements now. And even that, it's not massive, it's not major. We still drew 1-1 to Burnley, and we still need to work on massive things within the game, within the team, within the mentality. And he's been in now for 2 months, is it? Is it longer than that? And I just feel like with a new manager coming in, you can't just wave a magic wand and everything gets fixed. It is a process that you go through, and that's what's going to happen. It doesn't matter who you bring in at this point; it's not going to happen straight away. And I feel like the managers that we're linked to, Enrique, Pochettino, Ten Hag, all of them are not going to be able to come in straight away and do something major. Like, they're all going to take time. There's pros and cons to each one. There's managers that I'd rather have over others. And I agree with what Jordan said. I want Manchester United to have their own fresh start now. I don't want to go for Poch. He's been the whole saga with PSG, the whole saga with Tottenham. I would like to go for a fresh new manager. I feel like Enrique and Ten Hag are both great picks and great choices. I feel like there's nothing in the Enrique story. I can't see him wanting to come to Manchester United and take over there, especially with the World Cup coming up. So I'm not, and unless he'd wait till after that, which I've seen might be a possibility. But then, are we going to keep Ralf on for longer? That could be an option as well. But then starting midway through a season, because we know where the World Cup's at next year, I don't really like that. So if you want a fresh start, for me, it's got to be either Ten Hag or Enrique. But Ten Hag, like Kev said, he just ticks all the boxes for me. A fresh style of football, someone who's going to come in and put his own imprint onto the team straight away. Someone who, he's used to having a very good board above him and a very good football director. He's not going to have that, so that's going to be an issue. We've not seen him manage big names. We've got big names, but then again, they might be gone in the summer. You never know. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But for me, when you're looking at the list of options, Enrique and Ten Hag definitely are the managers that scream out to me, especially Ten Hag, just in what he's done at Ajax. And with Ajax, it didn't happen overnight either. He's slowly and surely made that team better and better and better. And the players that he's done it with, for me, I think it's a really good achievement.
Yeah, I'm just going to get through a couple of few super chats here before I move on with you, Kev. There, I seriously don't think it matters who the manager is. Glazers and this useless board will still call the shots. Yeah, Dan, United. Cheers, Dan. Love the show, guys. Hope you're all well. Currently, no manager in the world will fix this team. The attitude on the pitch, Sunday League standard. Notorious Rex. If Poch comes in, United will have to deal with massive egos. Difference is PSG have some serious talent. If he struggles there, he will struggle here. I mean, Kev, coming from the comments there, just from super chats, and I can see some of the chat as well. There is that common theme of United fans right now. I think Mark touched on this earlier on today. The fans are fed up with the players, and they know now. They've seen it all. I'm not going to say we've won a lot. We're Man United, and we're never going to stop, as the song goes. But we've seen it all in terms of managers right now. And honestly, I've seen every type of manager, and it's the same old story, mate, except it's gradually getting worse. And Wolves being pulled further and further over our eyes by what's being said by the club. The fans are talking. Fans are not stupid, mate. Gary Neville once said famously, you can't kid the fans. He's tried it, idiot. But, Kev, does it matter who comes in right now?
I totally understand anybody that's the super chat before that says it doesn't make a difference what manager you've come in. You're not going to get a tune out of these players, and United's problems are deeper. I totally get the Glazer thing that as long as they're in charge of Manchester United, probably much is not going to change. There are other teams that have what I would class as gobshites as owners or whatever that have. You only have to look at Liverpool, really, the way that they were run under the American kind of model. One of the best things they ever did was getting Jurgen Klopp into Liverpool. And, the rest is history. He's been a breath of fresh air. It pains me to say that. But what an absolute class move to bring in a manager like that, who was forward-thinking at the time, new ideas. Yes, the season when they won it, they spent big money. But in comparison to us, Manchester United and other teams, Liverpool don't really go out and smash big records, do they, at the minute? They've picked up players, they brought players through the academy, and any player that comes through looks comfortable in that first team in the system. And that's because from top to bottom, there is a structure and a style of play, which is exactly why I would like Ten Hag to come in. Now, the thing on the players is you have to look at this summer. Possibly the outgoings at Manchester United are going to be, it's going to rip up this squad. So the theory that everyone's coming out with, the squad's rotten and no manager will be able to manage these players, half of them could be gone. And to be honest, I couldn't give two shits about any of them at the minute. I really am at the point. I've said it many a times on here. I've never been so disconnected from a group of Manchester United players. And that goes from the top all the way through the team. Probably barring David De Gea, any other one of them. And I wouldn't be bothered. Even if I heard Bruno Fernandes had gone to Barcelona in the summer, if we have to do that and we have to rip up and start again, this is the reset button. This is what happened when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer went. You look, Greenwood, well, it's not going to be there in the summer, is it? Cavani could go. We've spoken about Ronaldo could go. Martial, Lingard's going to be going, Pogba, that's 7 already. And that's without mentioning the likes of Mata, Matic. You're getting on to 10 players there out your squad that could possibly be gone this summer. The worry for me is the rebuild. Where are these players coming from? The cost of replacing somebody like Paul Pogba. It's going to be, it worries me because how much money are the Glazers going to be prepared to invest in this squad in the summer? If a new manager comes in with new ideas, it's scary. You can't look to the academy and say, well, we're going to bring 10 players through to replace them 10 because it just doesn't work like that.
I mean, Jordan, is it a case that this is why the names we're hearing are being brought up as United possible managers going forward? Because Beth just talked about Ten Hag and what he did bit by bit. Oh, sorry, it was Kev, sorry, you said bit by bit. I think Beth touched on it as well in terms of Ten Hag. Built from nothing. Pochettino has a record of finding talent, improving players. None of the managers that I'm hearing, or even if you bring Ralf into this, which I think is the way we should go, really spend big in terms of history of big marquee signings. And it's a case of, is this what we're actually going to need? Because like Kev said then, I agree. Greenwood, Cavani, both gone. There's a lot going in the midfield as well. There's a lot of players leaving this football club, and maybe it is a case that one of these managers coming in can be the start of the rebuild or continue the rebuild if it isn't Ralf, because I'm with Kev. I mean, I don't think the Glazers are going to spend that much money, mate, in the summer.
Well, sorry, are you saying that you think Ralf should be given the job?
Yeah, I do. I've said it now from a couple of weeks ago. From what I've seen, I think he just needs to be given time to carry on doing what he's doing, because he's dissecting what we've got right now, and he's the first manager that's actually come in and had no nonsense for me. And honestly, can you see any of them other managers that we've talked about so far doing any more than what Ralf has done this season, with the nightmare that he's had to deal with as well?
Yeah, I think the conditions Ralf has took the job on were absolutely horrendous. The fact that he's walked into a car crash and is having to make do. So you got to take your hat off him that he was willing to take that challenge. It'd be very easy for him to have said no and not be willing to take that on, until the summer. At this point in time, I've not seen enough from Ralf to suggest to me that I would want him to stay long term. I'm not saying that I don't. I'm just saying I haven't seen enough.
Would you give him another year?
I'd like to play out the rest of the season and see how it goes. I think that the decision was made too early with Ollie. And I feel like, let's see how it plays out. We've still got top 4 to play for. We've still got the Champions League.
You're saying it was too early for Ollie?
The decision to give Ollie the job when we give it to him.
I thought you meant to get rid of them. I was just like, okay.
The only person in the country that thought it was too soon was Beth. She's the only person.
It took 21 minutes for the Beth drop. That's the way.
No, I'm joking.
Sorry for supporting my manager, No.
I'll leave that one to the comments. No, all joking aside, I just felt like the decision was rushed. We were riding a wave. It was Ollie at the wheel. Season tickets were getting ready to be announced and all that jazz. And they jumped the gun and they gave him the job too early. So I don't want us to do that with Rangnick. I'm still really confused about this narrative that Poch is a bottle job, like, and whatnot. So I haven't wrote off Poch. I still feel like it is an option. I don't want the board to go out and spend crazy money on marquee signings and only sign 3 players. I'd rather us go for the right players, and if they're 30 million, 25 million, but we've spotted the talent and we've brought the right people in to fill the multiple holes that we now have in this squad with this rebuild, then that's what I'll go for. I think when you look at the money that was spent when we bought Wan-Bissaka and Maguire and whatnot, that was 130 million. I think we spent on those 2 players. You look at 130 million, and if we were to only have that to spend this summer, you could bring in 4 or 5 players for that money. That would be the right players. And you see some of the players that we were linked with in January. This talk that, it's difficult to do business in January. Teams are doing business in January and they're not spending stupid money. So, I think if Ten Hag come in and he's got an eye for Europe and a good scouting network and he can bring the right bodies in and we bring 4 or 5 in and not marquee signings, then I'd totally go for that. We've tried the marquee signing thing numerous times since Sir Alex retired and it just hasn't worked for us.
Do you want to respond to the Pochettino, Beth? I mean, we spoke before on this, and it probably, I think you said it would be an underwhelming appointment on the Poch. Can you see what Jordan is saying there, though? I think he has got some good points to him, and with United at the moment, maybe it probably is the right time to bring a Poch in if you look at it, because the expectation is so low right now.
I'm not a fan of him. I've said it quite a few times now on the show. I'm with you, Adam. I would prefer to keep Ralf on for another year than get Poch. I like Ralf. I like what he's done, and I support him. I feel like having this conversation about the manager, I said it on Twitter earlier, it's a little bit frustrating because Ralf is still in the job right now. I do want to give him my full support, but I understand we are going to have to look at options if he is not going to be employed for another further year, which I don't think he will be, purely because of his honesty, and I don't think the board will like that. And yeah, I'm not saying he should 100% get the job, but I have seen things that I do really like about him, and I agree with Jordan in the sense that I would want to wait for the rest of the season to play out before I made any decisions about it. But I like Ralph's honesty. I like the fact if you give him money in the summer, I could trust him to recruit well with a budget. And I do think that we need to spend money in the summer. And it's not the fans' fault that Manchester United can't do contracts and they're letting Pogba go on a free once again. that's not the club's fault. We shouldn't have to watch a lower standard from a player because they can't handle contracts. They've messed it up. They need to go out and they need to get a replacement, and it's simple as that. That needs to happen, and I think they need to invest big money in the summer for me. And I would, if you go in with a manager, I think you've got to give them a backing. I'm not saying they've got to go out and spend 200 mil, but they've got to go spend quite a bit of money, and that could be given to Rangnick, and he could, like you said, go and get 4 or 5 players on, not for cheap, but not all have to be marquee signings. They can all be players that are up and coming, and I trust him to go out and recruit them players purely because of what he's done in the past. Also, if you're going to go for an Enrique, a Ten Hag, or a Pochettino, I agree you've got to give them all money. I know that they've all done it under a budget before, but for me, that doesn't matter. They need to have players to bring in, and they need to bring in their own signings. What I don't want to do is do what we did when Ollie first came in, which was give him £80 million Maguire signing, £50 million Wan-Bissaka signing, because they haven't worked out. For me, that hasn't worked out. But you look back and you think, what experience did Ollie have in making signings? When you look at Rangnick, he's got a very good track record when it comes to making signings, so you'd be more trustworthy to give him the money. But coming back to Pochettino, I see him as another mouthpiece for the club, to be honest with you. I don't think he'd be honest. I think he would come out and be like that Ollie figure that always said it was okay no matter what. I also don't think we'd win anything. I think we'd get top 4. I don't think we'd win anything. And do you know what? Looking at the squad now, you have to be a bit arrogant to say I want to go out and I want to start winning things straight away, because we're just not there yet. But you want to have that hope for the future. And I just don't see him doing it from what he's done in the past. I think he should have won the league with Spurs. I think he did a good job at Southampton, but Southampton isn't Manchester United. And PSG, he's not impressed me massively. For me, it is a bit of a farmers' league. So he's just not the manager that I would want. If he got the job, I would support him, but he's not at the top of my list.
But Beth, in terms of the league, they're 13 points clear. What more could he do?
Yeah. No, and let's see what happens in the Champions League, because with that squad, you should be getting to the final at least of the Champions League with who he has. So let's see what
Real Madrid. It's Real Madrid. I think PSG have got in the next round, isn't it? So that will be a very interesting game. But, I mean, Jordan, I'll come to you on this next. I mean, in terms of Ralf and your opinion on Ralf and not seeing enough, I mean, could it come down to the fact that the senior players in this football club have got a say? And I'll bring Ronaldo into this. Since Ralf has been in charge, we've seen nothing of Ronaldo. And honestly, he came on the other night, absolutely nothing. We know he had the poor game in front of goal with the chances that were given to him against Middlesbrough. And I think he's managed to get 2 goals while Ralph's been in charge. Plenty of games, mate, in that. But Ronaldo's probably not used to being benched the way he is. Could there really be a chance that major players at our football club could be having a say on this? Because you look at it, and I look at Ronaldo there. He's not going to be happy with what's happening right now. But honestly, I think there could be a case for saying, look, some of these players are having too much of a say, mate, because Ronaldo, prime example, he's not going to be happy. He will be kicking up a stink. We know what he's like. And other players are probably just going to look at that and go, well, if he can say that, I can say that. I'm on close enough wages to him. And the whole mess of Manchester United really doesn't give any manager a chance with these sort of players in.
Yeah. I just look at the January transfer window. And Ralf couldn't convince the board to spend 5 million when somebody was available in a position that he wanted.
That's the worry, mate. Yeah,
that is a massive concern for me. That if he in an interim position isn't strong enough to get 5 mil out of him, then they're clearly not looking at him as a longer term option.
Is that what convinced? Is the board antics like the Lingard scenario and no money spent convincing you just let's forget about Ralf because they're clearly looking elsewhere?
Yeah, and the Lingard situation where he's come out and spoken and said, I'm happy for him to move on, and then they've gone, well, actually, he's not going, and the stuff with him saying, this player didn't want to play, and then that player then has gone out and undermined him, and something isn't right with what is happening with Rangnick, and it's just creating more of a circus than we've ever had before. And I know that he's doing a lot right. But we've also got to look at the fact that for whoever's fault it is, there just seems to be more of a circus going on around the club than ever before. I'm not sure if you guys agree with that. And I I just want it to play out to the summer, not even to the summer, a few more weeks, and we can actually see where things lie, and then we know. But my gut feeling is that he probably isn't the right person for this job at this time with what we need. And it does need somebody to come in and completely revolutionize the squad and galvanize us as a fan base. And I feel like someone like Ten Hag can come in and do that. He doesn't have a record for spending horrendous sums of money, so he's not going to be asking the board, for silly signings. And hopefully has an eye for talent in Europe, which I feel like when you look at the other managers that we've had, where we say we've tried every single style of manager, we probably haven't tried that up and coming manager that, it puts a fresh outlook of European football on the team. I think the closest thing to that probably was Ollie in terms of a manager, trying to make a name for himself. But I just think that Ten Hag has a better pedigree.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, does it all boil down to what manager can work with this board? Everyone's saying the same thing. It's never going to change. No matter who comes in, the board's still going to be there. The owners are still going to be there. I mean, none of the managers, like we said before, and like what Jordan said, then are going to want loads of money in the summer, Kev. I honestly don't know what is an up-and-coming manager at the moment. You could say, like Jordan said then, it was Ole, but with no experience at all at the highest level. Is the Dutch League, or even like Beth said there, the Farmers League in France, are they good enough? Is it that Pochettino's worked in the Premier League? Why that's more of a law for these owners to bring him in? Because he's actually been here and done it before. Can we take a risk on Because as good as it looks, mate, on paper, when you come to United, we've seen it with players and managers. It's not the same. It's a different league altogether, mate. And Premier League plus United is a real career changer. And it's not a change usually with managers at this football club that goes the right way, mate.
And that's where Jordan's correct in the first up-and-coming manager that Manchester United have considered and put into that role was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The difference with him and Ten Hag would be the European experience for me. Solskjaer had never, managed in the Champions League before. It's a total different animal altogether. The managerial side of it, I think Solskjaer spectacularly failed on man management, just far too nice, You just need to set the cat amongst the pigeons almost sometimes. And Ten Hag, I think, is the first manager in a long time. I would certainly say he's up and coming. There will be people saying, what has he won? Which is kind of my argument with Pochettino. And I think the difference is that the kind of football knowledge, and anybody that's watched an interview with Ten Hag, the guy is interesting. If you get him in the hot seat, anybody that likes watching press conferences, the aftermatch stuff and that, you're going to get some good sound bites off this guy because he knows his stuff. His philosophy of football, pressing, style of play. First manager ever to play sort of two number 10s in a team, for God's sake. These kind of things in modern day football are revolutionary in a way. These are the forward-thinking managers, the ones with new ideas. Who had heard of a false number 9 until kind of Guardiola brought that into the Premier League? People like, City will never win the Premier League, not got a striker. Oh, it's all right, we'll play with a false 9, pack out the midfield. And it's all about fresh, new ideas. We've come a long way from the days when I was growing up as a kid. Everybody played 4-4-2, 4-4-2, every single team. Not many teams. Yeah. Good old 4-4-2. But who plays that? Nobody plays it anymore. It's very technical, but it'd be great to get a manager on board with new, fresh ideas. But I will say one thing, Adam. I totally agree with Ralf Rangnick giving him another season. The only thing that would pressure me into making a decision is if Ten Hag was only available this season and there was a chance of him going somewhere else and we miss out. If you could guarantee me that, Rangnick stays another season, then Ten Hag comes in, that progression, I'm all for that. But you look at Man United when they signed Wayne Rooney that season, they didn't actually want to get him that season. It was Newcastle that put a bid in that pressured United to sign him a season earlier. And that's my kind of analogy for this. If there was a chance Ten Hag's going to go somewhere else, another top European football team or whatever, then I'd be pressured into that side.
Ronaldo was going City, Kev, and then we jumped in. Has that worked out for you?
Yeah, nice one.
Sorry, mate. Beth, I'll bring up Santino's super chat in a minute there. When you look at it, Beth, on paper, I mean, the managers that we're linked with, is there a serial winner within them? There isn't, is there? There's not one there that's got that major trophy to his name. And are we arrogantly, as Manchester United, looking at these? Because if I'm Manchester City and I look at their blueprint, they've already done their own work. They've already spoke to Ten Hag. They probably know who their next manager is in 2 years' time than we do for next week. That's what I'm worrying about. And like Kev said, then I actually already think City have done their work personally. I think they've already got someone in line, and that is the worry. And we're not going to find out because City are actually run well, and we don't get no leaks. But honestly, I think we're probably looking at this arrogantly as well. Definitely come. I think managers will look at this now and go, "Look at who's gone in the last 7 years. It's quite a job."
Yeah, like the chat's saying, and I don't actually think we're linked to Enrique really, but he is a winner. He is a winner. He's won a lot of things, and his winning record is up there. But then there would still be question marks over him coming. I do think he's probably the most nailed on to get results quicker and straight away out of all of them, just purely because of his experience and the teams he has managed. But I agree with you in the sense that Manchester United do not plan things. They don't have a plan. And when I look at Ten Hag, I see him going to Manchester City as soon as Pep leaves if we don't go in now. I just see that happening. It just feels like a fit that would happen with City and Ten Hag. And do you know what? When Klopp came in and when Pep Guardiola came into the league, they hadn't managed in the Premier League before. Pep Guardiola is Manchester City's manager. Klopp is Liverpool's manager. They've not managed in the Premier League before, but they came in and they've put their own stamp onto that Liverpool team and onto that Manchester City team, and they've done a very, very good job at it. I think Manchester United needs something new. They need something fresh. And I feel like, yes, it might not work. Yes, it is a risk. But Ten Hag is that person for me. He's waiting to take the next step up. And that could be Manchester United for him. And I think while Manchester United are in this position, and yeah, it's a bad position to come into, but he could really use this, build them up from the ground and take us somewhere. I do think, and there's always going to be risks in football, but it is a risk I'd be willing to take. I just look at Pochettino and people saying, won the league with Spurs. He should have won the league with Spurs when Leicester won the league. He bottled that league. And I don't like the fact he doesn't take the cup seriously, because as a Manchester United fan, I want to be in the cups. I want to try and get to the final of the cups. Yes, we've not won any in 5 years like we were saying before, but that's something I really enjoy. I enjoy the cup competitions. I don't want a manager that's going to disregard that. He's been at Spurs and we've done that before. We've gone back in for a manager that's been at another club in the Premier League, that's well known from another club, and it's not worked out. I want a fresh vision, our own new manager, and that's why I'm heading towards the Ten Hag for me. But with each single one of the options, it's not a guaranteed win with any of them. They're all risks, but it's what risk are you going to take?
That's it. Super chat from Santino. Driving up from Kent, you're going to have to set off early, mate. If you're driving up from Kent, I'm sure there's a stay over there, mate, and the Friday night is there. Let us know. Where can I meet you guys before and after the game? As always, great show. Mate, yeah, well, me and Beth will be at the game. We'll meet us outside the East Stand, just to the right-hand side of the Trinity statue, and that goes for anyone else who wants to come over and have a chat on or off air. If you want to have your view on the United Stand, let us know. We'll get you on. Moving on, Jordan. That game that Santino's talking about is Southampton, a team that we've notoriously struggled against or always had tough games against. Forget last season with no fans and 10 men for a whole game. The 9-0 was a bit of a crazy out there. I don't see it being a 9-0 game this weekend, mate. Put it that way. Confidence-wise, going into this game, I don't think it's going to be high. I don't think there's much we can change, mate. And now I'm starting to look at it and go, this is what we've got now. And are you hopeful that these players can turn it around? Because let's be honest, mate, this is all we've got right now, this first team.
Yeah. Do you know what? A lot of it comes down to Rangnick's selection. I think Harry needs to be dropped because that Broja up front for Southampton will absolutely body Harry Maguire, especially on a half 12 kickoff. I'm always nervous on early kickoffs on a Saturday. I don't know why.
Probably because we're crap at them, mate.
We're crap at all kickoffs, to be honest. But
True.
yeah, the early kickoffs just seem to go worse for us. They played well last night. They played really well. They played really good football. And it was actually quite frightening looking at it. But like I said to you before we went live, they are also prone to a drumming every now and again. And I just feel like, with everything that's happened, you look at the 2 games before the break, we picked up 2 really good results. We've now come back after the break. We've picked up 2 negative results. Yesterday's point, the other day against Burnley feels like a loss. I just hope there's a reaction and we go out there and we turn them over.
Reaction, Kev. I mean, we're seeing one half of football at the moment, aren't we, with this team? We're seeing what looks like on paper. And I'll say it, I think I said it on my fan vlog there. We all stood there at half-time, having dominated Burnley. Let's be honest. They didn't even register a shot in that first half. All United fans I was with there, and that we turned around and went, I'm not convinced yet. This could go one way or the other still. And someone actually messaged me, one of the vloggers, Graham, actually messaged me and said, this isn't as smooth as it looks. Because all you can see on that is Burnley looks like a championship team. But really, all Burnley did, mate, was just up their intensity. And we couldn't handle it, mate.
Yeah. And United should have been prepared for that. We did speak in the fan forum straight after. We were downbeat, obviously. I think some of us were kind of talking it up, like Jordan rightly said, as a kind of defeat. Now, the problem with... We can talk about VAR and all that. United had the ball in the back of the net sort of twice. And Cavani had his chance. Good save from Pope, whatever way you look at it. We did have chances in that first half. You rewind to the Middlesbrough game. I didn't think the performance was actually that bad. On another night, we play Middlesbrough. We're beating them. You should have been 3 or 4-0 up at half-time. To go into the Burnley game then, and as you quite rightly say, at half-time, the curse of the commentator, even he said at 1-0, Burnley will be happy going in at half-time. Because Sean Dyche, you knew, you could just read the riot act. He was going to bring them in, get them going, first 5 minutes, bang, bang, bang. Let's get into them, pressure them. Don't let Pogba sit on the ball, spraying passes about. Get in on Fernandes. And we know for a fact that Bruno Fernandes plays up to that. You could just see what was happening. Get in, leave one in on him. They're not going to like it here down at Burnley. And lo and behold, within a couple of minutes of the second half, and as you rightly say, not a single shot on target. I looked at the stats at half time and I even said to my son, be typical this. Their first shot on target, they'll score. And didn't it just... Harry Maguire, I mean, we have spoke about it and I just think, geez, it was terrible. Terrible defending to get spun like that. But, positives. Can we take any positives? I have seen... positives to be taken into the game. If you look at the first half performance, the worrying thing is the second half performance and the drop off, because you have to be prepared for games like that. And one thing for Saturday, you'd be saying to Harry, you don't need to tell Varane because he's a Rolls Royce of a defender. He's primed up. He's been there, done it, won it. But Harry Maguire, you'd be saying, do not jump in anywhere in and around that box. No fouls. No free kicks. You've got one of the best specialists in Ward-Prowse in world football at set pieces.
Yeah.
But what will Harry do? First couple of minutes, bang, edge of the box. Things like that has to be structured into some kind of game plan. You cannot be giving any cheap fouls away against a player like Ward-Prowse. He's an animal, man, when it comes to set pieces.
Going off what Kev said there, Beth, I was at Southampton, first away game back after COVID. I was buzzing, and then Harry Maguire got on the ball and gave Ward-Prowse 2 corners that I can remember for sloppy play. We gave away what I counted 5 set pieces within the first 10 minutes. Exactly what Kev said we cannot do. You said off air before, Beth, that you are worried about the game this weekend. Is it because of our defence that you're worried, and the fact that really, for for some reason, again, he's slithered his way back into this team and we don't look as solid again with Maguire there. Can you see Ralf now, or has he had his wrist slapped that hard that we're going to see Rashford, we're going to see Maguire? Is that why you're probably worried more? Because there are players that we know we've got on the bench there that could probably do a better job than some of the ones that we know are probably going to start. And I think that, for me, is the biggest concern. But going into it all in all, Beth, what is the major concern for this Southampton game for you?
In-game management, to be honest with you. It's like every time we play against Southampton, it seems like it's either Fred or Maguire or McTominay giving away a free kick on the edge of the box, which James Ward-Prowse always scores. He's one of the best free kick takers, set piece takers in Europe, and that is just fact. And I don't want to see James Ward-Prowse come up to the camera with his golf club again. I just don't want to see it because it happens nearly every time we play them. And
he's got a good swing on him, hasn't he, though? Let's be honest.
Yeah, he has to be fair. You know what? I think James Ward-Prowse is massively underrated. I think he's a very, very good midfielder, and his set pieces are.
Would you take him in our midfield right now, Beth?
No, 100%. I've said it. I've said it before. I would take James Ward-Prowse at Manchester United. I think he'd add a lot to the team. I think he's a very good player, and I think if he was at a top 6 club, I think he'd be a lot more appreciated, to be honest with you. But things that do concern me about the game is the defence. I would drop Maguire. If I was Ralf, I'd be like, you were dropped, you got back into the team. Time to learn again, Harry. You've not learned this time. Making the mistake like he did, it's not like it's a one-off. It's happened so many times this season. He needs to learn from it. He needs to stop just these silly mistakes in his game, and it makes him look like a very, very poor defender, and it makes his performances very, very inconsistent. He'll do some things that I'm like, yeah, that's a good attribute, but his bad attributes cost us goals numerous times and cost us games, and that's the captain there. So I'd drop him again. You can't be turning like that. You can't be fouling players like that, and you need to learn from it. So he would be dropped for Lindelof, because I thought Lindelof was superb before. Unfortunately, his house got broken into. So for me, it wouldn't be like you would be at a loss there. I think he'd come in and have a good game. And another thing that concerns me is the midfield, because like I said on the fan forum, Jordan wasn't very impressed. I think McTominay's handled himself quite well in his last 2 games. Yes, Middlesbrough, you've got to look at it. Even though we lost to Middlesbrough and we drew to Burnley, their quality of players isn't as high as Southampton, and I think he could really get ran for his money in the Southampton midfield tomorrow, especially if Pogba doesn't stay back, because I'm assuming it's going to be Pogba, Bruno and McTominay. So I think midfield has to be really switched on with who they've got in there. They're 2 weaknesses that I can see happening. But plus sides to the Middlesbrough and Burnley game that hopefully we do take into this game is, under Ralf at the start, we weren't creating many chances whatsoever. We're actually creating chances now. We just need to start finishing them and stop making the stupid mistakes, because we're not even conceding that many chances. But the ones that we're conceding, we're making defensive errors, we're switching off, and that's how we're conceding goals.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, I said after the Burnley game, I used the golfing quote. I said, all the gear and no idea. It's like we get to the edge of the box, and I'm pretty convinced I've still not had a chance to watch it back yet because I've been that busy, but there was a moment when Sancho broke at the start of the second half, and I'm sure from that indecisiveness going forward and playing the right ball, Burnley took the ball down the other end, and that's where the goal came from. It's the quality. We took one of the leading assist makers and goal scorers from European football of the last 3 years, added another 800 goals plus the 300 and odd that were already there in Cavani to our team. What is going on, Kev? It is a case, all the gear, no idea. How is this happening right now? Because Beth said it then, chance after chance after chance. We cannot hit a cow's ass with a banjo, mate. It's ridiculous, mate. I can't understand it. How can this quality of player be so poor? I mean, Ronaldo's got no excuse to be dropped for the Burnley game, in my opinion, after his finishing. I thought Cavani deserved his chance. Cavani can get his coat for me right now because I think he's checked out, Kev. I know you love him, but honestly, mate, I'm looking at over 1,000 goals worth in the top level of European football at Burnley against Middlesbrough, and we can't get anywhere near the goal, mate. What? I mean, I don't think these players have got any right to even be complaining right now.
The one positive that we did take from the Burnley game was the performance of Sancho, where you look and you think,
best player on the park.
Yeah, that's what we bought. That's the player we've seen at Borussia Dortmund. That's what we want to see. The result wasn't great, and it has been a problem at Manchester United, as Ricky will quite rightly say. When it comes to playing with width, I firmly believe that the chance we're not playing. What I'll say is we don't play to the striker's strengths. We've been playing with the likes of Greenwood, Rashford, even Martial to an extent, who in their own right would not class themselves as wingers. They're almost like converted. They're almost thrown out on the left and the right respectively because they're not good enough to lead the line at Manchester United. And it creates a massive problem then, because when you've got a Cavani or a Ronaldo in the middle, I don't really see much width. And then if you're playing with a front three, fair enough. If they're going to chip in with goals and that, fair enough. But you're looking a bit further back then at your left and your right back. Again, look at Liverpool, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Players like that, easy enough for me to say, that can overlap, get involved, whipping crosses. And apart from Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka has never really done that for Manchester United. Man. Defensively, don't get me wrong, I've seen him pocket Mbappe, he's done bits and that, but as an attacking force, he's never kicked on and added that to his game. And that is the reason now that Diego Dalot is getting the nod over him every single week. Rangnick must see something in Dalot where he goes, all right, he's probably not as good as Wan-Bissaka defensively, a bit wet around the ears or whatever, but getting forward, he'll whip in a cross first time. None of this bollocks of cutting back and playing in a pass where the opportunity's gone. First time. And Dalot, I know the other night against Burnley, he whipped a few that, went into the crowd, whatever behind, but he's getting into them positions. And if Man United and Rangnick can work with him and he polishes that last bit of his game off, he'll be a fantastic asset to Manchester United. And Wan-Bissaka, the huge question marks over his future at Man United, because he's not going to want to play second fiddle, is he?
Mate, he can not want to be in quite a lot of places, but I don't think there's any United fan right now that cares for any one of these footballers. There really isn't. I mean, Jordan, I said the other day, I looked at the league table and I've seen the bottom four teams. The away games, in all four of them games, we've only managed to score one goal. Yeah, that's the bottom four teams in the Premier League, mate. And we know how crap some of them teams have been on the defensive records they've got. On the start of the season, we thought we had one of the best forward lines in the world, mate. And I've never seen a season drop off an expectation like this one. Do you reckon the fans being back, pressure from the fans, and now the Old Trafford pressure, mate, because it's not an happy place at the moment. Beth will vouch for that. Fans, doesn't take much for them to turn, mate. Are these players really finding out now that all that record under Ole, with no fans in the stadium, the away record and all that false that I said the other day, they're finding out what real pressure is now. And honestly, mate, I don't think Old Trafford is a happy place to be a Manchester United player right now. And I think character has really been put under the microscope. And we're seeing the ones who have not got the character, mate, and they haven't got the minerals, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, you've hit the nail on the head. Character is being questioned. And is someone's cat or dog okay?
Yeah, seriously, I won't mention the name. There is an obvious gag there, but we're not going to go there.
There really is. No,
you will leave that one there. But carry on, Jordan.
I'm better than that. Yeah, characters being questioned, and some people rise to it, and other people have shirked away. And you're right. At the beginning of the season, the last thing I thought we'd have issues with is scoring goals. And what I was surprised at is I was listening to Talk Sport yesterday. Jay won't be happy with me for listening to it, but something they talked about was the shots on target stat, which I was unaware of, and it's unbelievable how many shots on target we're actually having, and our conversion rate of only scoring one goal here and there, and that's frightening. And that isn't on Rangnick. That is on the players, and they've got to look at themselves. Cavani, for me, I said at the other day, I just don't think he's played well this season. As great as he was last season, as hard as we fought to convince him to stay, I feel like Ronaldo signing has really put his nose out of joint. I know he come forward with the shirts and whatnot, but I just feel like, I think Kev said earlier, he's mentally checked out, and I feel like a lot of other players are in a similar position. Going back to the whole fan thing and the away results. Again, we had this conversation at the end of the summer, at the end of the season. Was Ollie finishing seconds a good second and correct, or was it, rose-tinted glasses because of the way others performed? Some of us could see it for what it was, and others thought that we'd go on and win the league. But these players have really got to look at themselves, because it's not just them at Manchester United. This can tarnish their whole careers now. It's such a big club that we're playing for. They're not going to move on to bigger clubs and be able to deliver. If they go backwards now and drop down the league to other teams and then they do well, it'll be questioned that, well, you couldn't do it at the biggest stage at Old Trafford. And that's the thing, someone like a Harry Maguire has come to us for 80 million. If it doesn't work out for him and we sell him for 30 million or 40 million to a Newcastle or an Everton, it'll always be for the rest of his career. Yeah, but you didn't cut it on the big stage.
Exactly that. I mean, Beth, in terms of what you're expecting score-wise, it's time of the show now where we get into our worst bit, really, because honestly, I have got no idea at all where to go with this game in terms of a score prediction. What you going with, or what you thinking?
I'm going to go with 3-2 to United.
What? Bloody not 3 goals in the game?
Score 3 goals.
Do you know what?
Come on,
I didn't expect that, I'll be honest.
I always predict a United win. It's really testing me, because I could see it being 2-2. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to go with 3-2. I feel like we have created chances, and at home, this is going to be the game where we actually start scoring them now. But I also see us to concede to Southampton. Watching them yesterday, they're a massive attacking threat, and I think we'll concede goals. And I remember when we played them last season, and Cavani came on and scored them goals.
Yep.
And we won 3-2. I don't think it'll be like that kind of game where that happens, but I do think there'll be goals in it. I hope there is anyway, because I want to see I want to see us score our chances, because it's been 2 games now where really we're just missing too many chances.
Kev, last time United played Southampton at Old Trafford, and it was 3-2. And Mr. Andreas Pereira scored an absolute banger, mate, in top bins. He's no longer at the club. The club kept that one quiet, keeping the money out of the transfer window period, cleverly. I think that pretty much covers the dividends payments in the future. But just needed to get that in there. Sorry, everyone. I was winding me up when we sold him. It was out of the window. Southampton, Old Trafford, early kickoff. Not a great record in the early kickoff. So like Jordan said, don't matter when we kick off these days. It's never good. But hopes, expectations, and scoreline. Kev, what you going with, mate?
Hoping for a 90-minute performance. Not a 45-minute, one-half performance. That would be nice. Yeah, no chance. But I can hope. That's why I said hope for that.
Yeah.
Score prediction? I don't know. I'm going to have to be positive. There's a few people in the comments saying it's the negative stand earlier on. I don't see how we're being negative. We're just debating about the potential new manager at Manchester United and all things Manchester United. So 3-0 Manchester United. And obviously, I want United to win. Yeah. Take 3-0. It in. Okay, 3-0. No, nothing's getting past United on Saturday. 3-0.
Jesus.
And I really hope so, because my next door neighbour, believe it or not, is a Southampton fan as well. So
you are mental.
Yeah.
Wow. Jordan, mate, I've gone from Beth's 3 goals to Kev's 3 goals and a clean sheet. Are you? Can you top trump that, Jordan, mate?
Definitely not.
Clip it up.
You've already been clipped, Kev. Yours has took the headline.
I'm going to go with a 2-1.
2-1 United.
Yeah, 2-1 United.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're predicting a win, Jordan. Bloody hell.
I am predicting a win. Yeah, I think I wouldn't surprise me if we go 1-0 down. 1-1 just after half time, and then a late smash and grab. Clip
Are
it.
you all going down the line of a reaction sort of game coming here? One of them Old Trafford reaction games?
I'm trying to make myself look forward to the game, Adam. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. I do. Deep down, though, I know you're completely lying, but, God, I honestly don't know where I'm going with this game. From what I've seen, it tells me that Southampton are going to win. It really does, because I know the mentality of their team is on point. Like I said, they can go through runs, like Jordan said, and still come back and be top half of the table, which is where they are now. I mean, I've not even looked at it properly, but I don't think they're a million miles away from us. And if they do win, then they can't be many points away from us as well. But it looks like it's got draw it all over it to me. So I will go with 1-1. It's the most boring score prediction ever, but I just see it being a draw again. Unless United score in the first half, then it could be anything. But we have to score 2 in the first half.
Yeah,
I think 1-1. I think Southampton are a well-oiled machine to their standards, and
they'll be going there thinking they can win as well.
Yeah.
This is the problem. They have got players playing well, and we've got no one playing well apart from De Gea and Varane. In my eyes, Sancho was okay, but
I think Pogba's done all right as well, to be fair.
True, Pogba has been our best player over the last 2 games. I will admit that. But
only
like you said,
guys.
I can't remember who said it.
Out with injuries, got to get
play for a while.
I said, I think it might have been you, Kev, actually, who said it then. It's like, it's very easy to play against United and manage against them, because all that Burnley did was hit Bruno and hit Pogba in the second half, and we finished. We just died completely. Yeah. It was so easy to plan against, and that's the worry. It's like, these players are playing well, but someone else has to step up and play well next to him when they start getting counteracted tactically. And I just don't know. It's like Beth touched on it in-game. I mean, we brought on a political substitution in Jesse Lingard, the most pointless substitute I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, we've gone from having Martial coming on, for Donny coming on, I mean, Ahmad, even these sort of players could have been Greenwood, to now having a retirement home Mato and a player who doesn't want to be there as our only hopes going forward, coming on to change the game.
That was totally pointless, Adam. Sorry to cut you off, but you say, I know you mentioned earlier, like to you, Cavani's checked out. That the other night, bringing Lingard on. I mean, he might as well have had a sombrero on and a lilo under his arm and run on in flip-flops, because it was just totally pointless. I don't understand what statement or what they're trying to even imply by bringing Jesse Lingard on, who clearly his head is not at Manchester United, and they've kept him, at Manchester United against his wishes, really.
And there we are going to finish the show on that note. A player coming on that the manager did not want, United not getting the points that they need, and those talking about managers hopelessly, because the people upstairs are still going to be there when the new man walks through that door, no matter who it is. And if they're having any say, which they quite clearly are, and the season's proved it more than ever, it's going to be a tough job for anyone. But we are positive on United stand anyway. That's it. Oh, yeah. We're going forward. We're saying bye-bye. Everybody in the comments, super chats, thanks for tuning in tonight. Absolutely brilliant. Kev, cheers for coming on, mate.
Thanks as always. Remember, United 3-0 at the weekend. And if it does get clipped up and they don't win, I'm turning my phone off because I don't want loads of people saying, Kev off the United stand said United would win 3-0 and all that.
Actually,
wait for the fan forum, Kev.
Oh yeah,
Kev, what's your Twitter tag, Kev, so people can get all the use?
I forgot it. I forgot. I'll tweet it out.
Sombrero FC. That's what it is. Jordan, mate, cheers as always for coming on, mate. Pleasure to have you on the show.
Absolute pleasure on a Thursday night as always, guys.
Brilliant stuff. And Beth, I will see you on Saturday, but cheers for coming on tonight as well.
Best show of the week, always best show of the week, and hopefully the fan vlog outside Old Trafford will be a positive one.
Yeah, Beth is right. It's the best show of the week because it means we're not playing Europa League football. Always remember that, people. There's the positive spin to finish the show. Like, share, and subscribe to the United Stand, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Full schedule tomorrow, and then obviously the game on Saturday. We're all going to be busy. We will see you then. Have a great weekend. Hopefully the Reds don't ruin it for you this weekend, guys. But we'll see you there. See you later.